obstacle.
For every color of the rainbow.
For every new adventure.
For every kiss to make it better.
If I had a dime.
For every big dream.
For every day to get out and play.
I could just be a kid.
If I had a penny.
Just a penny.
From you and millions of other Rite Aid shoppers.
To round up for kid cents.
Just imagine
the change
your change could make.
Now through Saturday, Norfolk Kitchen & Bath has 2 great deals, like this kitchen for $39.99 or this kitchen with granite installed for just $79.99.
There are plenty of apps for news. There's only one WCVB Channel 5. The WCVB app, the power of Channel 5 on the go. The fastest breaking news alerts. Local weather from Boston's most experienced meteorologists. The one app for New Englanders on the go. From Boston's news leader, the WCVB app. Patriots, Panthers, right here on WCVB Channel 5.
Today on Cityline, very disturbing numbers on incarceration rates for the state and country's minority population. And once you're out of prison, how to stay out. Hello everyone, I'm Karen Holmes Ward and welcome to Cityline. The numbers don't lie. There is a mass incarceration crisis in the United States. What's more, an alarming number of those incarcerated are men of color, primarily African American men. Research compiled by the Center for Church and Prison in conjunction with the William Monroe Trotter Institute indicates just how much mass incarceration has impacted this state's black community. Consider these statistics. From 2002 to 2013, black incarceration rates in Massachusetts has steadily increased. Based on race and numbers, blacks are 7.9% of Massachusetts' general population, but consist of the highest amount of those incarcerated in the Massachusetts Department of Correction. Black adults and youth are disproportionately incarcerated in the Massachusetts Department of Correction. And based on the prior numbers and the Massachusetts Department of Correction 2012 prison population projection for 2020, the black incarceration rate is estimated to increase. George Walters-Sleyon is the founder of the Center for Church and Prison. He joins us now to speak more about this survey done with the Trotter Institute and to talk about some of the survey findings. Please, let's first talk more about this Trotter review and your organization and how you pulled together the information, and what are some of the more alarming findings that we find there?
Well, thank you for the invitation. First of all, the Center for Church and Prison is a resource and a research center, and our goal is community revitalization through prison reform. In 2009, when we started, we embarked upon the research. I went to more than 11 churches in Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury. Doing the survey that looks specifically at the high rates of incarceration, especially of black men in Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury, its implication on the black family structure, but then also the role of the church and community intervention. And the Trotter Institute published that particular findings. And the findings are shocking because some of the things we did discover, of course, black men are going to prison for longer and harsher punitive sentences. And also what we did discover is that most of the men that are going to prison are going into prison for nonviolent drug offenses. More than 45% of the report that came in, relatives said their relatives went behind bars for nonviolent drug offenses. Also, what we did discover was that most of the families that these men came from, the moment, and especially a lot of them were breadwinners. Most of them, when they went into prison, the family immediately entered into a dysfunctional mode. And what happened was that there was an increase in mental health. There was an increase in high school or school dropout for the students. There was an increase in eviction. Families eventually entered into a very impoverished state, and it became very detrimental for them to survive economically. And not only did we discover that, we did discover that most of the relatives and the men that are coming out are also affected by mental illness as well. You see.
So let's dig a little deeper on some of these things. Just to pull up another alarming statistic, a white man in America has a 1 in 17 chance of being imprisoned, a Latino man 1 in 6 chance, and a black man has a 1 in 3 chance. What do you think are some of the biggest external sociological factors that are contributing to these numbers?
Well, obviously, one is the war on drugs. Since 1971, when President Nixon declared the war on drugs, 1982, Reagan came and emphasized that. And then when Clinton came in as well, also, he was very tough on crime. You also have the historical factor, which is the racial implication as well, the criminalization of black men in the socio-political, the socio-political consciousness of America. Of course, there may be personal responsibility, but these socio-political economic factors basically contributes to that. Take, for instance, what William Stuntz says in his book, The Collapse of American Criminal Justice. He talks about discriminatory justice in America and prosecutorial discriminatory sentencing, so that you have right now increase in plea bargaining, and then also the rarity of jury trials. All of these factors, to a large extent, contributes, in light of the implication of racial consciousness in America, contributes to the high rate of incarceration of black men. Then you have the socio-political economic factor with respect to increase in poverty, because a lot of these men, the moment they go to prison and they come out, they are felons, they are criminalized, they are stigmatized. And then you've got the whole aspect of marginalization, which makes it difficult for them to experience some form of economic mobility or socio-political economic mobility, because they are barred from public housing, they do not have access to federal benefits, it's difficult for them to get loan, it's difficult for them to be employed. So you think about the existential implications.
So they're serving another sentence, essentially, when they get out.
Exactly. So it's like you are in prison, you come out, you're a citizen, but you become a rightsless citizen.
Now, you talk about retributive justice rather than restorative justice. Two forms of justice.
Right. And to go back to what Michelle Alexander talks about, to what William Stuntz talked about, the American criminal justice system has become absolutely very punitive and harsh, with mandatory minimums and 3 strikes you are out. And even Clinton talked about 1 strike you are out. All of that are characteristics of the retributive justice system that basically does not emphasize rehabilitation, restoration, or adequate reintegration. In the restorative justice system, what you find is that the element that this person is a human being and that this person has the potential to be rehabilitated if given the opportunity. Now, some people, it may be difficult. You have to give them 2 or 3 chances. However, it is important we put into place those very mechanisms that basically leads to rehabilitation on a very strategic level.
And of course, the Center for Church and Prison has founded what you call a transformative ministry. You think that religion can assist in some of these circumstances?
Yes, and we also also looking at studies that were done by the Department of Health and Human Service in 2003 that began to look at religion as a co-partner, as a partner in this whole process of reducing the high rates of recidivism. Because all over the United States, close to 7,000 people come out every year, and they go back into their various communities. So the point here is, if we can begin to look at the religious implication and the role of religion with respect to reducing infraction, studies have been done that guys who go to church and females who go to church, formerly incarcerated individuals who go to church or are part of some kind of religious group, the tendency for them to recidivate declines.
Because they have a supportive network around them.
Exactly.
This is a huge topic. We're going to talk about it for the entire program. We thank you for joining us in this segment. Make sure you pick up the book Locked Up and Locked Down, Multitude Lingers in Limbo by J. George Walters-Sleyon. Thanks for joining us. Ray.
Thank you very much.
And if you want to find out more about the Center for Church and Prison and the expansive report done by the Trotter group from UMass. It will be available for review on our page on WCVB.com. Up next, one Hollywood celebrity's activism helping inmates move towards success. Stay with us.
Diamonds, the jewelry exchange, has half-carat solitaires for $4.99, 1-carat $9.90, and 1-carat certified solitaires $19.90. We have thousands of GIA diamonds, guaranteed the lowest price, and set while you watch. Buy direct, the jewelry exchange in Sudbury.
The new Musselman's Big Cup. With 50% more applesauce in every cup. Only from Musselman's.
It's Stay and Play New England, presented by Toyota and the new all-wheel drive RAV4. Visit Warwick, Rhode Island, surrounded by all the wonders of southern New England. Enjoy fine dining, outdoor recreation, celebrating the seasons, shopping, and more. Stay in Warwick, see Rhode Island.
Jerusalem on the world's largest screen. Now playing.
You can visit mos.org/Jerusalem to learn more.
Do you want to think about how long it will take to get there? Or just go?
Ooh, now it's love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, now it's love. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Subaru takes you safely on adventures and brings you home memories. Buy a brand new 2014 all-wheel drive Subaru Outback, well equipped for only $23,795.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Russell's has celebrated Christmas in New England since 1876. From lights, garlands, wreaths, and trees to ornaments, angels, Santas, and carolers, you'll find every decoration imaginable. I'm Elizabeth Russell from Russell's Garden Center, Route 20 in Wayland.
Save up to 80%. 18-carat bands that sell elsewhere for $2,700 are $539. 2-carat 3-stone rings and studs are $29.90, and 1-carat studs are $599. Buy diamond and factory direct, the jewelry exchange in Sudbury.
Welcome back. Accomplished actor Hill Harper is not only known for his roles in television and film, but also for his dedication to helping underserved youth, thanks to his nonprofit, Manifest Your Destiny. After the publication of his best-selling series, Letters to a Young Brother, a resounding response came from an unexpected place. Prison inmates reached out for mentorship, and Harper responded with Letters to an Incarcerated Brother, his newest book. And to speak more about it, Hill Harper joins us now via satellite from New York City. First, Hill Harper, welcome back to Boston. I know you went to school here.
Great. Yes, yes. Hey, Boston, it's great to be back. You know, spent 4 years there in grad school, and I look back at that time as some of the best in my life. So I love the city, and I love the folks of Boston.
Now, Hill, let's talk about your continuing mission to help underserved populations with your nonprofit, Manifest Your Destiny. How did you translate that work into the incarcerated population, and what inspired you to do so?
Okay, well, you know what's interesting about it? You know, Manifest Your Destiny Foundation, I founded that when I wrote my first book, Letters to a Young Brother. And the whole idea was that we saw a linkage between dropout rates in every community across the country and incarceration rates. And so we work with 8th graders going into 9th to make sure we give them the tools necessary to get through high school. And we thought that might be enough. But what was interesting is a lot of judges across the country started assigning my book when they were sentencing folks to juvenile facilities, et cetera, and requiring them to write book reports. And so they started sending me the book reports, the judges and the prosecutors and the wardens from these different institutions. And also I started getting letters, particularly once I started responding to a number of them, I started getting more and more letters back. And so what I started to realize through these letters is that, you know, but for the grace of God, there go I, or any of our children, our nieces, nephews, et cetera. We are experiencing a hyper-incarceration crisis in this country, and it's time to shine a light on it, time to talk about it, and have some solutions offered. So I'm hoping that through my book, Letters to an Incarcerated Brother, obviously I want folks to read it. The only folks I want to read it aren't just people who are behind iron bars. I want everyone to read it and hopefully connect to it, be inspired by it, and learn from it.
You know, you say there, but for the grace of God go I. In fact, 1 in 3 African-American men can expect to be in prison in their lifetime. Why is this number so high?
Well, we know why. It's high because every dollar we spend on early childhood education and fortifying our public schools, we save $7 on not having to lock somebody up. But over the past 30 years in our country, we've been taking money out of public school system. We've been taking money out of funding early childhood education programs, and we've been using that money to build prisons. And so it's one or the other. And the problem is that we, the taxpayers, are the ones that are paying for all this. And if folks really knew the truth, I think they'd think differently about it. And the other thing is that the most unifying factor of folks that are in prison isn't race. It's actually poverty. In this country, we're locking up an amazing number of poor white folk, poor Latino folk, and poor black folk. And we need to take a look at that and do something about it.
Now, you say that one way to increase chances of success after incarceration is through education while incarcerated. What can inmates do to further themselves before getting out?
Okay, well, there's a number of things that I talk about in the book, real concrete programs that I talk about in the book where they can send off to and get information and hopefully enroll in. You know, Bard Prison Project, you know, the Bard College actually offers has a prison project where they do education inside the walls. There are a number of GED programs that you can do and apply for, etc. Every state is different, every institution is different, but the book has a lot of information about all of those things, and that's why, in part, you know, as we're leading into the holiday season, I know a lot of folks choose a cause that they're going to give to in a holiday time. I set up a website, incarceratedbrother.com, where you can go on to it. You can search by state, prisons, as well as the warden's name. And if you find it in your heart, go ahead and gift the book into the prison library, because obviously, you know, inmates can't walk into Barnes & Nobles or go onto Amazon.com and order the book. So we need to gift the book into the institutions as well as hopefully have folks read it outside.
Hill Harper, you are a Hollywood star, and I don't mean to make you blush, one of Hollywood's sexiest men, but you've taken on a topic that's not necessarily sexy. Do you feel that enough African-American men in Hollywood are doing what they can to reach out to these populations?
You know, I'm not the type of person who tells other folks what they should do with their time, their resources, or their platform. I do believe that once you decide to step out into the public eye, whether you be an entertainer or an athlete or a politician or someone who decides to step out of their private life into the public eye, then you have a responsibility and you are a role model. I do believe all of that, but I don't tell other people what they should do. I just hopefully lead by example. There's no question that the platform that I have allows me to do books like this. You know, the publishing community wasn't, you know, they're not jumping up and down attempting to publish books directed towards the incarcerated population, or there'd be more books out there like it. This is the first of its kind, and I'm hoping they were skeptical of whether people would support this, whether they would gift the book. I'm hoping folks will, and I tell you, this is the book I've worked the hardest on. It has the most dense research. It's the highest quality. And you, no matter who you are, where you're from, you'll enjoy reading it and get something from it.
Hill Harper, we're almost out of time, but if you could just tick off for us the 7 C's to success that you talk about in the book.
Okay. Well, listen, the 7 C's, people love the 7 C's. And number one of all the C's is courage. That's what's in your heart. You have to bring courage to the table. Curiosity is another. Collaboration, you can't get there on your own. Confidence, you have to have the confidence to step out and do. The other and most important perhaps is character. You have to bring supreme character to the table. The other is completion. finishing is something most of us don't actually do. We wonder why we can't get started and doing something and moving forward. We don't complete. And so, did I get all 7? I'm not sure.
I think so, but that means people have to get the book in order to find out what they all are, right?
People have to get the book to get the 7 C's. The 7 C's work. I apply them in my own life, and they absolutely work.
Hill Harper, thanks for joining us. Everybody, the book is called Letters to an Incarcerated Brother. We'll be right back.
Patriots, Panthers. Monday, Tom Brady and the Pats face the NFL's hottest team right here on WCVB Channel 5. SportsCenter 5 pregame with Mike Lynch at 8. Monday Night Football at 8:30 on WCVB Channel 5.
Jerusalem on the world's largest screen. Now playing.
You can visit mos.org/Jerusalem to learn more.
Dreaming of the day you can say we're pregnant? At Cardoni Reproductive Medicine and Infertility, your dream is our goal. To help you create a family, we offer the latest treatments, as well as a warm and caring atmosphere. Visit the Boston Channel and click on Health Source to learn more.
Meet Jill, a working mother of 4. She's got no time for the grocery store. Crowded parking lots and lines are all she sees. Her life would be better if she shopped at Tedeschi's. Little snacks for her son, a healthy Nourish bar for her daughter, and low prices on milk and seltzer water. Great products and great big smiles were all that she could see. And as she left, she said, now there's more time for me.
Many of you may never have seen a tufting machine, but here at Gardner Mattress, this is an integral part of what we do every day. The tufting process pre-compresses all the materials. It makes it last longer and gives it a much nicer appearance.
Nichols College is the best value in business education. Our dedicated faculty and undergraduate professional development seminar program produce a job placement rate of over 91%. Visit nichols.edu and see why your success is our business.
The weather's changing and you're in the market for new tires. There's only one place to go, Town Fair Tire. Town Fair Tire has the largest selection of name brand snow and all-season tires at the guaranteed lowest price. Bridgestone Blizzak, Firestone Winter Force, Continental, Dunlop, Michelin, Pirelli, and more. Name brand winter tires at the guaranteed lowest price. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Welcome back. So you get out, then what? How do you stay out? In order to keep recidivism rates as low as possible for the recently incarcerated, programs must be in place that engage the individual and promote the highest level of success. To speak more about efforts to aid offenders integrating back into their communities, Suffolk County Sheriff Stephen Tompkins joins us along with District 7 Boston City Councilor Tito Jackson. Welcome to the program. Gentlemen, let's start and talk about what's happening in Suffolk County in the Boston area to help these folks move towards success.
Haley House is one of the gems that we have in our neighborhood and community. They do great work around that. Strive and other organizations are great organizations, but I think we need to continue to do more. I will be pushing to work with Marty Walsh around creating a mayor's office of reentry, which has been done in other municipalities and shown some great promise.
And of course, the Sheriff's Department has lots of very specific programs to aid in this. Talk about some of what you're doing.
Well, one of the programs that we're really looking at is our vocational education programs, where we teach carpentry, landscaping, custodial maintenance. Last year we started in urban farming. Next year we're going to start a culinary program. So what we're looking at is vocations that it doesn't matter if you've been away for a while. If you are proficient in one of these vocations, you can get a job. And we're also talking to employers about the fact that while these guys have been away with us, they didn't just sit around and do nothing. They did learn something. And would you take a chance on them? And to this point, we have about a 33% success rate with getting guys employed.
Because as we talked about earlier in the program, when you come out, often you have a felony. Then there's the Corey background check. There are all kinds of barriers to people being hired for good jobs.
Housing is also another issue, and working with the city, and we're going to have to work really hard in this space because not only is it difficult for you to get a job, but in terms of your housing, you can't be in any subsidized housing if you have a felony. So there's a huge issue there. Working with the Department of Neighborhood Development around some of the abandoned properties, and the work that Steve is doing is, I think, a great piece. Steve and I are both also planning to travel to Texas to visit a program called the Prison Entrepreneurship Program. And it's a program where folks are actually learning behind the walls from C-level folks, from businesses, how to start their own businesses. And there's one young man who now has a $7 million cleaning business, and I think that's the type of person that we'd love to see.
But you know, the third leg on that stool is also healthcare. So in the absence of having employment or housing, you also need healthcare. And so what we're doing is we're bringing in parole, probation, the trial courts, DYS, and community health centers to talk about how do we begin to transition guys out before they actually leave, so that when they hit the door, they have services in place. What we found is oftentimes if they don't have those services by the time they hit the street, they never get them.
Our federal officials also could play a role. There's about a $7,000 tax credit for those folks from the Welfare to Work program. There should be some type of credit, I think, for businesses who are going to hire folk and bring them in. We spend about 46 grand a year. It's a small amount to be able to bring them over. Some other states and municipalities have actually also used the state bonding people and that bonding power to allow folks to get jobs, because we want people to get back, be able to be part of their families and in their community.
But you know what? If you look at getting in front of the curve, we also have to look at diversionary programs, mental health programs, and detox programs. We are the default mental health hospital because a lot of money has been taken out of detox beds and mental health beds, and so we have to have that discussion. The good thing about a new mayor, new city councilors, new governor coming online, new AG coming online is now is fertile. This is the fertile, ripe time to talk about all that we have to do going forward to help folks not only transition out but stay out.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, we talked earlier about the alarming number of black men that are in the prison population. They're supposed to be heads of households, and when they come out, they need to return to that role as heads of households. As two African-American men, you know, how do you feel about that, and what are you saying to these young African-American men or older men?
Let me jump in here real quick, because there are two things that I found when I first became sheriff. We have anger management classes and we have parenting classes, but we were only offering both once a week for 40 minutes. I have, unfortunately, a captive audience, and so what we've done now is we've expanded that to every day. Anger management and parenting. A lot of these guys have kids, but they don't know how to parent. And so when you talk about households, heads of households, and I have a 15-year-old boy, as they get older, they get a little frisky. And but
they can make you mad.
They can, but you have to know how to parent, and that's what we're working on.
And the positive norming piece is so critical. We need to catch these young men way before they get there. We need to look at people who are probably going to drop out, because dropping out doesn't start at age 16. It actually starts at 9, 10, 11. That's a lot of work that we can continue to do through mentorship and really reaching back and giving them a fast forward into what things they actually can do, and focusing on things that we want to see rather than the things that we don't want to see. And if we do that, then our future will be bright.
And so one of your keys is get to them before they even get to prison.
Yes. Yeah, middle school. We have a program called the Choice Program where we send officers into the middle schools to talk to kids about not getting in trouble.
All right, Sheriff Tompkins and City Councilor Tito Jackson, thanks for coming back to join us to talk about this.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. All right, everyone, you can learn more about today's program by logging on to our page at WCVB.com and join the conversation on Facebook. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We're so glad you joined us. Have a great rest of your day and take care.
The Hyundai Elantra, an EPA-estimated 38 mpg highway and more passenger room than a Honda Civic. Take a test drive at your Hyundai dealer today.
Over 4 years ago, I got in a car accident down the street and I'm doing physical therapy. And then I was told about the 60-60 program.
60-60 is a beginner's exercise program designed for those with a medical condition.
I was a little skeptical, but then once I did it, trust me, it was worth it. They motivated me.